Thanks, Rita. Welcome to Wales Today. I'm Lucy Owen. The headlines. Criticised for a lack of targets and timeframes. Calls to rewrite a Welsh Government plan that aims to improve life for people with disabilities.
So people with disabilities have had long-term problems with finding employment, having accessible employment. Just very, very difficult just to take part in everyday society anywhere.
The Welsh Government says it will listen to the views of disabled people. Also tonight.
Final preparations are underway for the opening weekend of the Rugby World Cup. Last time they met, Scotland came away with the win and Wales came away with learning to do.
We're training with intensity and accuracy now, is what I wanted to have, and there's still more to go from this team.
At a time when many councils have shut public toilets, a group of volunteers is marking 20 years of running their community loos. And he sang what became an anthem for Welsh football fans. Now at 82, David Iwan prepares for his final performance with his band.
This singing business is a strange thing, you know, it can carry on until it's too late.
Good evening, Noswaith Dda. It's a flagship plan to improve the rights of disabled people in Wales. But there's a warning tonight that unless key parts of it are rewritten, it risks becoming merely symbolic. The Equality and Human Rights Commission is calling on ministers to commit to clear targets and timeframes. The Welsh Government insists it's already acted on some of the recommendations of the Disability Rights Task Force. David Grundy has more.
Joe from Llanelli has autism. He runs a charity representing the rights of disabled people who have learning difficulties.
We have some wonderful aspirational policies in Wales, but often the policies don't line up with the capacity of local authorities and service deliverers to actually deliver them. And that's what really worries me. And there is no real robust accountability, in my opinion, for those who don't deliver.
And it's people like Joe that the Welsh Government is trying to help with what's called its Disabled People's Rights Plan. Ministers have been working on it for the past 4 years and set up a task force to come up with recommendations. It aims to give disabled people more rights in a range of areas, including social care, employment, housing and travel. The task force came up with more than 300 recommendations for the government, which published its draft plan in May. Some, though, who took part in the task force have said they're not happy with the draft version. And now the equality watchdog has raised concerns too.
Its intent is commendable. What we're genuinely seeing an absence of is a meaningful understanding of how this will be done, how it will be measured, and how we as a national equalities regulator for GB will be able to scrutinise the plan. We have a very productive relationship with Welsh Government. But we are, as I say, the national equalities regulator and a national human rights institution. And our function is to ensure that public bodies, including Welsh Government, come up with the goods on these policy intents.
There are concerns that without clear targets, it won't be possible to monitor whether the plan is working.
The plan itself is positive. And it's about, or supposed to be about, real change, about removing barriers for disabled people, about transforming attitudes, about creating a society in which disabled people can thrive. But across the sector, concerns were raised about the lack of clear commitments, lack of targets, lack of timelines, lack of concrete funding. And frankly, you may as well not have the legislation without those targets, timelines and effective monitoring processes and the voice of lived experience, which is key to this. What difference, if at all, is this actually making for disabled people?
The Welsh Government says this is an ambitious 10-year plan to make Wales an inclusive, accessible place where disabled people can live free from barriers and discrimination. It says it'll look at the responses to its consultation on the draft plan before publishing a final plan.
A 37-year-old man has been arrested after a fire at a former pub in Barry. Emergency services were called to the old O'Brien's pub on Halton Road in the early hours of this morning. Everyone in the three-storey property was accounted for. The man from Barry was arrested on suspicion of arson with intent to endanger life and taken into police custody. A man has been jailed after headbutting 3 police officers during his arrest. 37-year-old Nathan Phillips was arrested for a public order offence earlier this month after reports of a belligerent, intoxicated man refusing to leave a shop in Merthyr Tydfil. Following the incident, one officer required an MRI scan due to the injuries sustained. Phillips has been sentenced to 4 years in prison for assault occasioning actual bodily harm, criminal damage and 2 counts of assault by beating of an emergency worker. There will be extra patrols at a popular beach in North Wales this weekend to prevent illegal camping, fires and barbecues. National Resources Wales said it was working with North Wales Police to patrol Newborough National Nature Reserve and Forest on Anglesey, also known as Llanddwyn Beach, which is used to film the TV series House of the Dragon. It added that the car parks for the beach will also close as soon as they're full, with visitors encouraged to go on other locations on the island. Now, after a turbulent week in the world of Welsh rugby, all the off-field dramas are paused as attention turns to matters on the pitch with the start of the Women's Rugby World Cup. It all kicks off in Sunderland this evening when England take on the USA. But for Wales, all eyes are on Manchester tomorrow afternoon. Eleanor Rice is there for us this evening. Ellie.
Lucy, it's felt a long time coming, hasn't it, this tournament? And as you alluded to, after a week that's really threatened to change the face of Welsh rugby as we know it, it feels even more poignant. Over the next month, 16 teams will face off in 8 English cities in front of thousands of fans. And no doubt the pressure is on for them all, but especially for us Wales, who are here in Salford this evening, but also in the Scottish camp too. In what might just be the game of the weekend, they're taking on a Scottish side with eyes locked on success. Kicking practice today. They're taking every moment they can. Well, Scotland head coach Brian Eason's leaving after the tournament, and the camp has been marred by acrimonious contract negotiations. But, he says, their focus has been on one thing only.
It's a Scotland-Wales game, you know. We're not saying if we don't win, we're not even looking at that. We're just looking at our performance to win the game. We're not looking beyond what could happen if we win or if we lose. It's just about the focus around this one. So Scotland-Wales, you know, I'm sure there'll be a lot of noise in their camp. We're not even looking at their camp. We're looking at how they play rugby. We have a lot of respect for Wales. We have a lot of respect for the way they play. And that's all we're looking at. We're not looking at any noise around foes, you know, enemies, anything like that. It's nothing like that at all. We have a lot of respect for them.
Noises from the Wales camp suggest they're in good form and ready to prove a point. Co-captain Kate Williams said they want to be a team other sides fear. And after drawing the 2-test series in Australia earlier this month, they're only playing to win.
It's huge always to try and win that first game. If you don't win the first game, then it can make it more difficult then to build a bit of momentum going through the pool. So yeah, we're just excited to go out there and showcase what we've been working on really, and hopefully get a result at the end.
It's familiar territory for head coach Sean Lynn. Just after he took over the role, Wales faced Scotland in Edinburgh at the Six Nations. It was a nail-biting fixture. The hosts took the win by just 3 points. Wales left the tournament with the wooden spoon. Sean Lynn knew there was work to do.
We're on the right track. Yeah, definitely. You know, I set targets after the Six Nations to the players. They went away and they've come back in better shape. But we're training with intensity and accuracy now, is what I wanted to have. And there's still more to go from this team.
Historically, there's not much between the sides at all. So, can Wales do it? Well, they'll certainly be hoping that they can. And from what we've heard over the last week, they've been putting in the work to do so. Let's chat now to our sport reporter, Kerry Coleman-Phillips. Kerry, you've been following this side as much as anyone. What's the mood like heading into tomorrow?
Oh, they are buzzing. They are so excited. It seems like we've been preparing for this for so long. I went with them on the tour of Australia, and they just can't wait to get going. And it's so fitting that Scotland is their first game. It was their first game 3 years ago. It was their first game in the Six Nations, and we know games against Scotland will always go down to the wire. But yeah, they seem very relaxed. Lots of TikTok dances going on in camp, and yeah, they're just going through their captain's run, their final preparations behind me now, and then back to the hotel for their shirt presentations, some time with the families, and yeah, they can't wait to get going.
It's going to be an emotional night, isn't it? And you mentioned about Scotland being first. It was Sean Lynn's first game as well. He's not been in charge that long. What impact's he made?
He had 2 sessions before that game in the Six Nations, and while Wales really did compete well, I think there was only 2 or 3 points in it, he's had now a full pre-season. He sent girls away after the Six Nations saying, listen, I want you more skilled, I want you fitter, and they came back and they had an absolutely brutal pre-season, trudging up the sand dunes of Merthyr Mawr. I mean, they've never been in better shape. The girls say that themselves, and they've worked on their defence. They've brought in a coach to look at the collision area. Flaky George is playing some of the best stuff ever, so expect her to pull the strings at 10 tomorrow. So yeah, they're really ready, you know, in contrast to Scotland, who've had so many off-field issues. You really do have to fancy Wales tomorrow.
And briefly, Kerry, you've spoken to Sean Lynn actually in the last half an hour. What did you have to say?
They're ready. He says, bring it on. You know, it's their opening game. They've prepared for this. Go out there, express yourselves, enjoy yourselves, and embrace the moment.
Oh, embrace the moment. What a note to end it on. And of course, you can watch the match live on BBC One Wales tomorrow. That starts at about 2:15, and you can stay across it on Radio Wales from midday. Lucy, back to you.
Exciting stuff. Eleanor Rice in Manchester, thank you very much. Well, staying with rugby, and amid all the changes proposed to the game this week at the top level, concerns are also being raised about the Grassroots game after cuts were made to the WRU's Hub Officer programme. The scheme placed officers in schools and colleges around the country and was designed to encourage youngsters to play. One coach says to cut them will leave girls' grassroots clubs like his struggling for players. The WRU say they had to relook at finances and reshape the department. Matt Murray reports.
It's the first training session for Club Rugby Nant Conwy. It's a club with a successful track record. They will see 2 groups of sisters, who they call their Fantastic Four, put on the Welsh jersey this weekend. Nell and Branwen Metcalf and Gwen Llian and Alo Pers all began their rugby careers here and will now represent Wales in the Women's Rugby World Cup. But there are fears these youngsters might not get the same opportunities after the WRU axed its hub officer, and it could leave the girls' grassroots game struggling.
Players aren't quite coming through with the quality we got. On top of possibly getting rid of the 2 regions, there's being able to have these pathways for these young players, promising players. It won't be there. They just haven't got the manpower to keep on going with these programmes. So I think that's where it's going to hurt most.
Around 30,000 children have benefited from the Hub Officer programme, which has been part funded by the WRU for 11 years.
It's all about the money, I think, for WRU. They don't seem to understand that the grassroots is where the players come from. That shows with the girls that we've sent through to Wales.
Their main purpose has been to engage young people in rugby and join local clubs.
He did a lot of things with us, and we had much more opportunities in school with PE and going into tournaments with other schools. We've really developed as a school with a sports section and just really get more opportunities to play.
Elan Jones benefited from the sessions with a hub officer and went on to play for Wales under-18s and under-20s.
Encouraged us girls to go that extra mile to play those games, and the experiences we had were really, really well, going down to Cardiff, playing those teams. I think it just boosted our confidence a lot, and I don't think I would be where I am now without a hub officer.
Earlier this year, the WRU decided to cut funding for the programme as part of a restructuring plan to save £5 million. But they say the hub programme has been reshaped rather than cut.
What we're trying to do is actually make sure that we cover all of Wales, to provide coverage right across Wales. Right now we have, appointments being made. We have applications. It's fantastic that we have over 200 people who have applied for the new rugby engagement officers, and also to develop our match official area, our coaching area, which is important.
Nant Conwy Club turns 45 years old this year, and members have set themselves a challenge of walking 45 miles in one day to raise money to keep their local hub officer.
Absolutely gutted. However, we're not going to be beaten by this. There is means afoot. There is the challenge to raise funds to try and maintain some sort of service to the primary schools and the high schools.
And while the professional game in Wales faces huge uncertainty, at a grassroots level, there are also fears for the future of the game in Wales.
You're watching Wales Today, still to come in the programme. The end of an era for the iconic Welsh singer David Iwan, who's performing with his band for the final time this weekend.
And it's been a fine day for large parts of the country, but will the sun be shining over the bank holiday weekend? Well, join me later for that full forecast.
Now, are you someone who lives in an area which has seen its public toilets close? Well, with councils across Wales facing ever tighter budgets, more and more authorities are closing their public conveniences in order to save money. But one village in Denbighshire, which saw its toilets shut back in 1998, is now celebrating 20 years of providing the service through a scheme run by a team of volunteers, as Rob Thomas reports.
Congratulations. Look at this, fantastic.
Flushed with success, this plaque unveiling on a humble toilet block in the village of Llandrillo near Corwen shows what can be achieved when a community pulls together. 17 volunteers currently take it in turns to open, close and clean these toilets, providing a service for both villagers and the visitors who arrive to explore the stunning landscape.
I've been to other communities and kind of sell the idea over the last 10 years. And it does work, and it's the only way, because places like Llangollen now are facing toilet closure. It's a big town, lots of tourists. We have a car park here, we have the Berwyn Mountains. People do come and enjoy the environment. So this facility is good for us as a community and for the visitors alike.
It costs around £1,500 a year to run the toilets, costs met from a couple of small grants and money left in a donation box. And takings have grown since schoolgirl Gwen Llian Roberts wrote a short poem explaining to those using the toilets just how they operate.
It says that we need donations to keep the toilets open and accessible, and we have had almost twice the amount of money since we put the poem up, and we are still able to keep the toilets open and accessible.
With communities large and small across Wales and the rest of the UK losing facilities like this, the villagers here in Llandrillo have made a real difference. So is this a model that other towns and villages could copy? Government Minister and local Senedd member Ken Skates believes it's an approach to local services which is likely to grow.
Taxes can only go so far, and with growing costs associated with key public services like social care and health, unfortunately it means that difficult decisions sometimes have to be made. But communities, the length and breadth of Wales, have followed what Llandrillo have done here, and they are saving community assets. And that's what these are. They are community assets that are really important for members of the public.
Like other rural communities, Llandrillo has seen a number of local services disappear, including the village school and pub.
Oh, the best toilets in Wales.
But these volunteers are determined that no one is going to pull the plug on their toilets.
Some sports news now, starting with cricket. And the Welsh Fire women's side have won their first match of the 100 competition after 6 attempts. They beat the Birmingham Phoenix by 36 runs at Edgbaston this afternoon. The Welsh Fire men, who've also had a difficult campaign with just 1 win so far, will be starting their match with the Phoenix shortly. Football, and Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson says the club have made a statement of intent by signing centre-back Callum Doyle from Manchester City. The Championship side have agreed a fee which could rise to £7.5 million for the 21-year-old, who's an England under-21 international. He's the club's 10th permanent signing of the summer.
Callum was at the stage in his career where he was ready to find a home. You know, he'd had a lot of loan moves and be part of something. And I had a good chat with him over the last few days. And we were looking forward to getting him in with the boys. And then he's trained this morning with us and have another session tomorrow and assess where he is fitness-wise. Because obviously, he hasn't had loads of minutes, but he's here for the long term.
And Wrexham are in action tomorrow in the Championship, looking for their first win of the campaign, with Sheffield Wednesday visiting the racecourse. But before that, Swansea City host Watford in a lunchtime kick-off. Cardiff will be looking to continue their good start to life in League One against Luton Town. And in League Two, Newport County take on MK Dons. Now, he's been a staple of Welsh folk music for decades, with his most famous song, Yma o Hyd, becoming an anthem for Welsh football fans. But this weekend will bring the end of an era for the iconic Welsh singer, Dafydd Iwan. He's performing with his band tomorrow night for the last time, on the eve of his 82nd birthday at the Llanuwchllyn Festival in Gwynedd, the place where he lived as a young teen and first picked up a guitar. He's been speaking to our reporter, Ellen Wynne.
His music has connected generations, with songs from decades ago still firm favourites today. Dafydd Iwan has said in the past that he intended to retire, so is he calling it a day for good this time?
I've had a feeling for some time that I had to manage the exit, as it were. And Saturday night we'll see the last performance with the band. I'll still be singing the odd song here and there, but I really want to stop the big concerts, the big gigs, before they get the better of me. Since the World Cup in '22, I've had an extra audience and extra publicity. The idea of singing Yma o Hyd before the World Cup matches was something which I was a bit fearful of, but prepared to try. And the reaction and the participation of the crowd was tremendous. And it has changed things for me, especially as far as non-Welsh speakers are concerned. It's a great feeling of sort of bringing them into the fold, as it were. But if it's helped to bring people together, well, I'm happy.
And those three simple words, Yma o Hyd.
I keep seeing them everywhere.
They're on posters, they're on T-shirts.
Yeah, on everything. And graffiti. Well, there are worse things, but the context to express the fact that we can survive as a nation, as a language, as a culture. The thing that gives me most pleasure is that my songs, especially Yma o Hyd, is now being used in schools to promote the Welsh language. A few teachers have told me before 2022, I just couldn't get the children interested in Welsh lessons at all. Now they're queuing at the door because they feel they're part of something. And so if I've helped in that respect, that's great, yeah.
Now there'll be more time for family, watching sports and gardening. And his songs, well, they'll be forever green.
The wonderful Dafydd Iwan there, speaking to Ellen Wynne. Time for a look at that weekend weather forecast now, and I can hardly believe it. Are we actually in for a sunny bank holiday, Sabrina?
Hello, Lucy. Yes, I do have lots of warm sunshine coming up in the forecast, actually. So each day across the long weekend, we're going to see those temperatures rise a little bit, and there's going to be more in the way of sunshine too. I think tomorrow is going to be our cloudier, somewhat wetter day of the weekend. And when I say wetter, I mean there'll be a sprinkling of showers, but of course not everybody will see one. If you are in need of more significant rain, that's what we'll see at times next week. More on that shortly. So here's our Weather Watchers photo today. A beautiful photo from Llanbedrog in Gwynedd, some sunshine and areas of cloud. As we go through this evening then, there's going to be some sunshine in parts of the south and west. It's a cloudier story in parts of the northeast. I think a few isolated showers are possible overnight, but most places will remain dry and cloud will tend to build too. So last night in a few spots rurally, we got down to 3 Celsius, so it was a pretty chilly night. But tonight, because of the areas of cloud, we'll see something milder. Overnight lows 9 to 14 Celsius. Our Saturday forecast then, yes, there will be more in the way of cloud and a few scattered showers. The highest chance for these in parts of the north and west, where locally they could be on the heavy side. But of course, not everybody will see one of these. And there should still be some cloud breaks in places to allow for some bright or sunny spells, with daytime highs up to about 20 to 23 Celsius. That comes with typically southerly breezes. By the time we get to Sunday, high pressure very much in the driving seat, so largely dry, settled conditions are expected. Sunday, you can see there's going to be lots of sunshine across the country, some patchy fair weather clouds developing. The wind shouldn't be too much of a feature, and I think it should just about remain dry. I wouldn't rule out just 1 or 2 showers locally, and temperatures a little bit higher, so up to about 21 to 24 Celsius, which I think for most of you, you'll find that quite pleasant. Looking at further out then to Bank Holiday Monday itself, lots of sunshine in store. There could be some hazy cloud in places, but that shouldn't be too thick. And then the breeze will tend to pick up in the west. That's ahead of the next weather front that we'll expect late in the day. Temperature-wise, then you can see temperatures widely in the 20s, up to about 26 Celsius. So for an August bank holiday, that could be near record-breaking, actually. Looking at further out, this is when things start to change. This is a former hurricane. So when I say that, it just means more in the way of low pressure for us in the form of weather front, so something a bit wetter rather than stormy conditions. I think there is some uncertainty on just how far north or south this rain gets, but generally speaking, next week does look more unsettled to what we've seen recently. Timing of the next band of rain at the moment looks to be late on Monday, where the breeze also picks up. And then generally speaking, you can see more showers and rainfall in the forecast next week. We've also got that downward trend in temperatures. So a change on the way, but in terms of the bank holiday itself, it looks largely fine. That's your latest. Lucy.
Sabrina, thank you so much. Before we go, a final reminder of our top story and key parts of the Welsh Government's flagship plan to improve disabled people's rights need to be rewritten, according to the Equality and Human Rights Commission. They want ministers to commit to clear targets and timeframes. The Welsh Government says it's produced a comprehensive long-term plan. And that is Wales Today. I'll be back after the BBC 10 o'clock news. But for now, from all of us on the programme, thanks so much for watching and have a lovely Friday evening. Hwyl fawr.